pretty big opportunity for you, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Feel different than any other one, or are you at this point in your career just like, you know what, it's another fight?
Pretty much at this point in my career, every fight is just another fight. Once we sign the contract, we worried about that opponent only, and we're going to go out there and do the best we can to dominate in that fight.
You feel like there's a lot on the line on Saturday. You feel like this one, a win, has you next, for sure.
I mean, if you look at it that way, but I'm not looking at it that way. I'm worried about Saturday right now. I just got to worry about Jan Blachowicz. That's my championship fight. That's my title fight. That's my 5-round fight to go out there and showcase my skills. And what happens after that happens. I can't sit here and worry about, oh, am I going to get the title fight next and this and that? Because we got John Jones talking about going to heavyweight. You know, they're talking about this rematch now. You put all that different pressure on yourself and you go out there and you get out of your mindset. Right now I'm focused on what I've been focused on for about the last 12, 13 weeks, and there's nothing changing that.
Is there a point in your career where you wouldn't have been like that, where you would have looked ahead, but now you've matured in the sport and you're where you are now, that you're able to have that mindset now compared to before?
Yeah, early in the career I had some of those hiccups. I think it was more I learned it in wrestling. You know, I was always thinking about being a national champ. I'm going to beat this guy. If I want to wrestle this guy, if I want to beat the #1 guy, and then I end up overlooking somebody and get pinned when I shouldn't, or I got beat by points when I shouldn't have. When I'm way better than that person, but I wasn't focused on him. I was worried about what's next and what's after that. So now it's kind of like just take it one step at a time. You know, you got to crawl before you can walk. You got to walk before you can run. So each one is just another step to the next thing.
Were you surprised that they called you with a rematch, considering the outcome of the first one?
A little bit, but not really, because I was sitting at the bar watching it. I was on a hunting trip, and I told the guy, like, if you win this fight, I guarantee you, depending on how it goes, they're going to make us fight. And if Jacare win, I'll get the title fight. But if Jan wins, I'm fighting him again. Just had a feeling, you know, it's just been that way in my career. A lot of my fights I've had doesn't make sense, but it is what it is.
How much has changed from preparing from then and preparing from now, and do you expect it similar outcome?
A lot of things people don't realize, when we fought then, that was only my year and a half of fighting, period. You know, I was 5-1. You know, I went to the Ultimate Fighter 3-0 within 5 to 6 months fighting experience. So that was my third fight in the UFC against Jan Blachowicz, and I was 5-1. Now I'm 14-4. So at the time, like I've been telling everybody, at that time, my striking camp, all I had worked on was a jab cross because I couldn't throw a right hand correctly. So we hadn't even worked kicks. We hadn't worked hooks or uppercuts or overhand rights or anything. And all I had was a jab cross and a blast double. I was a white belt in jiu-jitsu, and all the coaches taught me was like, I want you working on the bottom and just keep from getting submitted. I don't want you to worry about submitting nobody. I don't want you to worry about getting up. I don't want you to worry about sweeping. I really want you to just practice not to get submitted. And that was it. And you can see in that fight with Jan, when he got the arm bar, I didn't panic. I ended up working to get out. When he went for the Kimura, the defenses I worked on, I used to get out. Now, as more of a complete fighter, and I've actually used striking camps. I did kickboxing camps. I've done jiu-jitsu and wrestling where I'm submitting guys and getting up and sweeping guys. Now it's like it's going to be a whole different fighter. It's not going to be just the young kid that was athletic with heart. Now it's a dangerous threat that's athletic with heart and the tenacity to be the best.
Did you bag anything on your hunting trip?
Yeah, I got a nice 6x5 11-pointer, Saskatchewan whitetail, huge, about 320.
Did you use a gun or did you?
A bow. I'm a bow and arrow hunter.
Okay, nice.
You have a
That's
game
hard.
plan for after this one?
Nothing yet. Right now, the plan after this is just to get down to my property in Kentucky and go look in Indiana at some more property, get stuff set up, and do some shed hunting right now. But with the wife and kid, it's hard to get away with the hunting. You know, my wife, her family is big in hunting, but it still doesn't fly when I say I'm up and leaving on a hunting trip.
So the javelina hunting's gonna have to wait?
Yeah, actually somebody told me to bring my bow, and actually right now it's javelina peak prime season here. And I was thinking about it, but I'm going to pass. But after this, I actually am going to Arizona to meet with Pete Shepley in the PSC factory. I'm sponsored by those guys and work some out. So who knows, I might end up shooting some in Arizona with those guys.
You have 3 times as much experience now as you did the first time that you fought, yeah? So do you even look back at that first fight, or is it too painful to see how you were fighting at that time?
Yeah, I mean, I look back to compare the similar things he did in that fight to what he's doing now, but I didn't compare it at all in the camp for what I'm preparing for. Preparing this fight, I'm fighting for a whole other fighter, somebody I've never seen. You know, 5 years later, that's half a decade. Things change. So to me, it's a whole new person, a whole new perspective. His mindset is different. One, you can have the mindset that I would have if somebody beat me in college. It was, I'm going to come back and get him. I need to get back. So that fire in me is fire. You know, I'm pushing hard. It's burning. Or you can have that mindset in the back of your mind. You seem positive, but mentally it's like, if he get me in this position, he's going to break. So it's either way, you prepare different for that mindset in training. You push hard, or you don't push as hard because you don't want to burn yourself out. But I think he's going to come in a lot smarter and better prepared this time, now that he actually fought me once.
In your assessment, does he look like a more dangerous fighter this time around?
Everybody asks like that question. He's more dangerous. Has he evolved? I don't think he really changed his game much. He had 30 fights when he fought me the first time. Now he has 40s or whatever. Yeah, 40 fights since. But when you had that many fights, you don't really develop and change your game up. You just sharpen up what you do. You know, he was already a veteran when we fought. Not a veteran in UFC, but a veteran in the fight world. So now it's the fact he's going to go and tighten up what he did well in that fight and do it even better. And the things he did bad, he's going to sharpen them up so it doesn't happen again. So I don't see him as evolving much, but he's definitely dangerous with what he already had. He's hitting harder and he's moving faster with certain things.
Obviously, he's coming in hungrier, definitely. But I mean, you have to recognize that. And I mean, how prepared are you for that, and how hungry are you? Just keep obviously progressing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, in this sport, if you in the UFC and you're not hungry, you're in the wrong place in the first place. So everybody I fight, I expect to be hungry. You know, Johnny Walker, I know he wanted the title fight. He was hungry for it. The fact was, he just looked past me. And everybody in it, if you're hungry, you're dangerous. So the thing for me is just had to be prepared to stay on point. You know, keep my defense tight. Don't make the little mistakes you made in the past. OSP, dominating that fight. Made a little mistake, got caught. So now the main focus was we're going to keep dominating, just stay smart. Dominate smart pressure. You know, Jimmy Mantle, I went out there, I never really got to get started. I let him bring it to me and put me out early. Mindset change for that. I was like, all right, we can never let somebody go out there and dictate the pace. We got to go out there and do our thing no matter what he's doing. Don't worry about what he's going to do. Do what Corey does. And you're going to know what he does because we train for that. You train for your style to be his style, not to go out there to work around his. You know, so as you grow in this sport and in anything, you learn lessons. You listen, you watch, you learn, you study. And it just makes you, those losses make you hungrier and those wins make you happy. And you can either get happy off those wins and ride that cloud like, oh, I did this now, I did that. And you've seen people get there and they just go down. You know, Jimmy Mantle, all respect him. He knocked me out. Then he went on a 4-fight losing streak after that. Then he ended up retiring. You know, there's people that's winning to a title fight. Izzy Adesanya, or I don't know how to say his name, Izzy. You know, he won. Now he's a champ. Some people have different mentalities, and for me, it just drives me to be the best, to be the top. I want to be at the top when it's all over, said and done.
I know you said you're just focusing on this fight and not really, hopefully, being the next man up. But you know, John Jones is going to be there, and so you're going to be trying to make it. You still got to be trying to make a statement, though, correct?
I'm not trying to do anything but be me. Hopefully, he got good seats and he sees a great show.
If the rematch does happen between him and Reyes, are you willing to sit out, or are you going to take another fight?
I mean, at that point, I feel like there's nothing else I really have to do. You tell me somebody that's fought for the title in the last 2 years that beat anybody in the top 5 twice. Nobody. Who's the only person that's beat 2 top 5 guys and not even in the title contention? So what I got to do? Fight another top 5? Want me to beat 3 top 5 guys and then I got to beat another one and fight somebody else ranked outside the top 10 again? There's no point. But like I said, right now we're just worried about this one. We go out there, we handle this, and we go from there, and then we see what happens.
Do you see it going pretty much the same way as the first fight?
I see it going worse than the first fight because I know if I fought me back then, I wouldn't even touch my own leg. I wouldn't even hit myself with a jab. And I know what I do, and I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of doing. I know who I train with. I know the people I bring in. I know my coaches. Most of all, I know my coaches are the best in the world. And I don't have to worry about going out there and doing certain things. I just have to listen to them. If I listen to my coaches, they're drawing out the playbook the whole 25 minutes. I listen to them nonstop, it's going to be a flawless victory. And I believe that.
You talked about taking pressure off your shoulders, but do you feel at least a little bit to try to get a stoppage win here in order to make a statement for that title shot?
No. Even in Johnny Walker, you got to go out there and make a statement. My thing was go out there and dominate. That's in training, you ask my practice partners, this camp, every 2 rounds or every other round, I had to bring a fresh guy in because I was breaking guys. I was dominating guys, and that's the mindset. And if I go into the fight and I have one guy that has to stay with me for 5 rounds, they don't get to bring no fresh guy in. If I can gas those guys out in 1 round, he got to stay in for 5, it's going to be a long night. So I know if I'm just dominating, that's going to be impressive enough. And eventually the finish is going to come.